it's Raina with Lylo Crafts, and today I'm so excited to be coming on as my Christmas in July series continues. Today I have 8 amazing, fun, and sweet gift card holders to share with you. We are going to take a closer look at all 8 of them, but first I'll show you how to make one step by step. Okay, so as we make one together, the first step is to cut our paper to the right size. I'm using this little mini envelope punch board to make my envelopes, but there are plenty of videos on YouTube that show you how to make envelopes if you don't have an envelope punch board. So since we are making gift card holders, the perfect size is this 2.5 by 3.5, and it says cut the paper at 4 7/8 by 4 7/8. So that's the first step. And I'm gonna cut that at, again, 4 7/8. So we're just making a square. So how are you guys? I hope you had a wonderful weekend. And mine was super busy. So it was good. It was good, super busy. Okay, now the next thing we do is we look down here to see where we score. And this says to score at 2 3/4. So that's what we're gonna do. We're going to line it up at 2 3/4. We're gonna punch and then follow this groove, which is literally right next to here, and go down. And then you line your line up again. You punch and you put that little crease in there. Again, lining the line up, punch, and score, punch, and whoops, and score. So then you're gonna have something like this. You're gonna take the longer ends and stick them in this little thing, and it does a tiny corner round. Now, you don't have to do this step. You can just go ahead and use your scissors if you want, or you can totally skip it. So our next step is we are going to fold on these score lines. Now, if you're mass making, what you want to do is all the same step together. Okay, so you would do all the cutting of all your papers at one time. You're going to go on your envelope punch board. You're going to put all the score lines in and the little corner punchings at one time. If you want to cover the inside, okay? So I personally don't think it's necessary, but if you want to cover your inside, or if you want to just use double-sided paper, woohoo, then that's even better. What I'm going to do is I've got a scrap piece of paper, and you want it just a hair smaller so it will fit in nicely between those lines. You're going to go about halfway down, put your finger to measure. I'm going to go ahead and draw my line with my glue. I'm just going to go up the sides near the edge and put that down. And then I'm just going to lay this piece of paper in here and kind of line it up. Then what I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to go ahead and cut around the edge of this. Now for this one, I'm going to start with the bottom and put this down. Now you can use any kind of material that you want. This one right here is a little bit thinner. So if you want to use music paper, or like I used book pages here, that's totally fine. And this is cardstock. So this is pretty thick cardstock, and I lined it. As you can see, some of these I didn't line, and they are with thick cardstock. Okay, then I'm going to go to my score line. I'm going to just massage it a little bit with my fingernail to help it know where it's supposed to bend. And then crease over on the top. Now you can see when you fold it over, a lot of times you get this, a tiny bit of hangover. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut that. The next step is if you want to ink, then go ahead and ink around all the edges and on the front and the back. I got out 3 different colors of ink that I want to try on these. So I have festive berries out. I have this peeled paint, and of course I have vintage photo. I'm gonna try on this light one. I'm gonna try and see how the red would look. Okay, and when I do this, I do want to do every crease, and again, this is totally optional. You do not have to do this step right here. Okay, but I think it's kind of fun to ink the edges. I think it adds a nice little bit of definition to your project. So let me know in the comments below, are you an inker or are you not an inker? That would be so great to hear and see. Okay, I'm even gonna fold this backwards and ink on this line on the inside right here. Now, probably would be even better if you ink before you glue. If you're gonna ink on the inside, it would just make it a little bit easier. Next, what you're gonna do is cut out the Tiny Moose and the Merry Christmas. This is one die set, and I bought this before on AliExpress, and I have never used this. So when I was thinking about what project to do, I was looking at my Christmas dies, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is so adorable, and I've never tried it. So I just broke the bottom piece off, and I left all these tiny pieces connected to the head. I have a tendency to maybe lose some of these little pieces if I disconnect them. So I am going to cut out these and be right back. Hi, the magic of YouTube. I have already gone ahead and cut all of these out so that we can decorate together, right? The fun part. My little deers, I cut those out in brown, and one of the things that they are going to need is a little bit of weight behind the eyes. Now, it has the pieces to recut it in that way, but I am not patient enough to do that. What I am going to do is use this little circle punch to make this little background for the eyes. So I just need to cut out, right now I believe I'm doing 8. I've got my circles cutting out, and the next thing I'm going to do is just put glue around the edge of the circle, just like that. And then I'm going to lay my little eyes just on top of that circle like that. And then you can use a paper towel. I'm using a baby wipe that's dry to clean that off. Then what we want to do is color in the eyes. Now this die has all the eyes, the nose, the little white dots that can go in the eyes. It has all of that, but I just thought that it would be so cute and to add like another different kind of touch if we did them with pen. So I'm just taking a black marker and I'm just creating just a little bit of the eyes, just like that. This one needs to be just a hair taller, almost just by touching it. Okay, and then I am using a paint pen to make this, to make the eyeball, the weight of the eye, and I'm going in the top, slightly to the top left corner of both eyes. Okay, so I've got my thin line pen, and I'm just going to make 3 little dashes on both sides. Okay, that's all there is to that. I have my white Jelly Roll pen, and I'm just going to make a thin line just underneath each of the eyelashes for a little bit of highlighting. Okay, again, not required, but I just thought it looked adorable. So it does have a nose piece, this die, so if you want to cut that out, and you know, you can use black or you can use red. You can see over here I have used felt as well as pom-poms because I think they're so tactile, and I think part of the delight for me is just touching things, and I think people really like that. And so I had these little red pom-poms that are too big. As you can see, it's just about covering the eye. So you can cut them down. I didn't even know if you could or not. I just tried it. So I'm just taking my scissors and I am going around, and you got to make sure you go to the back too. Otherwise your back is going to stick out just as further than your front. And you can make your nose gigantic if you want a gigantic. Like to me, that still looks a little bit too big. So I'm going to cut it down some more. but it's up to you as to how big you want your nose, or if you don't even want to fiddle faddle with this, then definitely use that die. So to glue this down, I'm just going to put one tiny little dab of hot glue. Okay. I've got my little nose. There he is. Oh my gosh, I think that little deer is so adorable. So now we get to decorate. We are gonna decorate one together, and then I'm gonna show you how the other 7 turned out, and we'll walk through that. I think for this one, I'm going to close it with a piece of Velcro. And so the best way to do that is to take your little, and I especially want to put a dab of hot glue. These do have glue on them, but just in case, because you're going to be opening and closing, I like to do that. So you're going to glue one side on, then you take your other side and you match it right up to it. Okay, so you put the male and the female portion together up there. Okay, then you just put another little dab of hot glue, spread that around, and then you just push down, and now they're going to be perfectly aligned. For this one, I thought we could do the little reindeer peeking out, looking at the presents for Christmas and dreaming about what maybe was under his Christmas tree. And so I thought we could just layer up like 3 little squares. These are scraps of the papers that I had, and go ahead and put those over there. So I think since I'm going to put those on the left, I am going to glue him on the right. Okay, so there we go. All right, and then I'm going to use my little dry baby wipe to get that excess glue off. And then for these little presents, what I thought was I could tie the green ones with a bit of this red. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of hot glue here on the back. I'm going to put the string in there so it doesn't come off, and I'm going to use my silicone spatula to hold that down. And then what I'm going to do is tie this one in a bow on the top. You can do it however you would like. Okay, I think that's so sweet like that. Okay, and then all I'm going to do is just cut the other end off here so it's a little more even. Oh, so cute. All right, so we've got our first little present done. And then I thought on this one, we could also use this same little string. We'll just make this one even a bit fancier, and we will tie it in across. Okay. That one looks super sweet. Now let's do the last one, which I thought we could do in the contrasting green. A dab of hot glue in the middle here. And then I'm going to use my silicone spatula to hold it in place. Then I thought maybe I could just put a little jingle bell on that. And I'm just going to tie a knot again. Okay, so now we have our little guy here looking for his Christmas presents. And so I'm going to put this one down. You can see the hot glue there behind, and adding this additional hot glue will really hold it in place nicely. So I'm going to start by adding it like that. Okay, then I was thinking this little green one, this brown one, this craft one with green. I'm just going to put it up from the other one. So I'm just applying a dab of hot glue behind, and I'm going to glue that little piece in place. Okay, great. And so what I'm going to do is just stagger this one. Oh, so cute. Okay, I want that bell to stand up, so I'm even going to add just a bit more. There we go. All right, and then I've got this third little present over here. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I love it. He's like peeking. Okay, so let's take a look at the other ones that I decorated ahead of time. So here is another one. So this one also has the deer, and this one had a felt nose, and this one has a pom-pom nose. I just used a scrap of the paper, and then I just used the word Merry this time. And I've got the jingle bell over here on that one. This one, I've got book page, and again, scraps, and I just used a paper punch to punch out this snowflake. And this is from a bag that I got from the Dollar Tree last year, which I just cut up and made lots of ephemera. And it says Cup of Cheer Cafe, and this says it's a latte. And so, you know, Rudolph is a little bit cold and he's looking over the edge for the latte. And then there's this one. And this is a little bit more old-fashioned or a little more vintage. So I used a beige lace, and I have silver on here, and I took vintage photo over it to make it look like it was a little bit tarnished. And it says Merry Christmas with the deer right there in the center. And to hide the little strip on the top of the lace, it's just this little scrap of paper, and to close it, I've got a star here, and it just clips down like that. Isn't that awesome? So I think that's so fun. That's another fun way to close. Then I've got this little polka dots. I love me some polka dots. And so this one, I stitched a book page and made a paper ruffle. I've got the green that says Merry Christmas and the little Rudolph to the left over here. And I just have a star as a closure there. Then I've got this sweet one. Look at that deer. And this time I dotted the eye for the Christmas with a red star, and I use Velcro to close that one. So L-O-V-E on that. And then I've also got this sweet one right here, and this is a stripe, and it says Merry Christmas, and I tied the jingle bells onto that, and that's the closure with him peeking over the top. And then my last one, which is drying a little bit, is this one. And he's looking over at that cookie, and he snuck a bite out, and he's hoping he can get another one. I put some little Nuvo drops on here. This is lace from a top and another scrap piece of the paper that I was using. And then when you look on the back, it's got Mrs. Claus's Bake Shop, and so that's where he was, and he snuck a bite of the cookie, and he's hoping he doesn't get caught so he can get another one. So these are the 8 sweet, sweet, sweet little gift card holders. They could be pockets, they could be a sweet way to write a note to a person that you really care about, or just to let them know that they matter. And it's perfect for a junk journal too. And I'll be putting some of these in my junk journal as well. If you love the content of this video, I would so appreciate it if you could give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe before you head on out. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.